birth of an IP is something special. There's so much hard work and dedication that goes into creating a new series, whether that be in the form of games or books or shows or whatever. Creators and developers have to work tirelessly to make their perfect vision of whatever it may be come to light. In the modern world, though, a big part of pitching or getting IP off the ground and made comes down to marketability. A series can be as great as it is, but most of what's funding said series comes down to merch sales and profits outside the piece of media itself. This was one of the core ideas behind the creation of Sonic the Hedgehog. They wanted a mascot so recognizable, so marketable, one that screams out at you, practically requiring your full attention. Sonic wouldn't be where he is today, whether you want to admit it or not, without merchandise. It's a 12-step program to make Sonic as big as he is now. So what step is he? So recently I've been going down the rabbit hole of Sonic merch. There's so much interesting shit about it. Like, you may think on the surface it's not really interesting, like, oh, who cares, it's a shitty Tails figure where he looks like he got neutered, but no, there's so much just genuinely interesting and funny shit. With a franchise as long-lasting and merch-driven as Sonic, there's been a good 35 years to pump out some actual bullshit, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I myself don't have much Sonic merch. I really just own a lot of the games physically and have a collection of the Great Eastern plushes, which, believe me, we'll get to. Blaze is holding in a fucking big laugh. Oh yeah, and if you enjoy, subscribe. Why don't we start with the plushes, actually? There's a lot of these old vintage ones from around Sonic 1's release, and I think a lot of these have actually aged pretty well. A lot of them look really cute and charming. There's even a couple using the US Mohawk design, and it looks pretty nice, actually. Not sure what the idea behind holding in your piss Sonic was, though. I've always liked this one in particular. He's just really cute. The material on him makes him look really soft. The highlight for me is these cute little tic-tac shaped eyes that lack any pupils. Reminds me a lot of how he's portrayed in the one ad with this claymation style, where he's got the same sort of eyes. Pat Mac made a video about some old plushes, and through that, I found out about some old plushes that were exclusive to a Sega UFO catcher, and yeah, most of them look pretty good. I really like the Eggman specifically here. He's honestly kind of cute with how stupidly rotund he is. Sonic looks alright, he's got tic-tac eyes from before, but then the Flickies are fucking demonic. You've got this Walton Files ass bunny and then serial killer Flicky. But if we want to look at where everything really started, then it's commonly stated that the first ever Sonic plush was one that never released to the public, and I really like him. Naoto Oshima is seemingly the only person that has one, or he's at least the only person who's confirmed that he has one. I like him a lot. He's really charming from the front, but he's kind of fucked up from the behind. The quills just look wrong. They look super thin as opposed to the more bulky appearance in other classic games. You can see a really good comparison by putting it beside one of the design sheets of Sonic CD. Despite this, it's still a really charming plush. I can't bring myself to hate him. Plus, we see some real skinwalkers later, so I think this one gets a pass. A plush set was created to commemorate the release of Sonic the Fighters, and these guys are just funny. They're pretty good for the most part, but everyone has one part of them that just looks a little stupid. Amy looks like a dork. Knuckles doesn't look like you know what's going on. SBO, okay, actually, SBO is actually perfect. Like, he's just amazing. And as far as I'm aware, it's the only classic SBO plush out there. Metal Sonic, I don't even have a joke, just look at it. There's some Sonic Adventure 1 plushes as well, and these guys are fucking cute. Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Big, and a Chow are part of the set, and while they're slightly off model, I don't think there's a single plush that is fully on model, so it's not really a big deal. Tails is happy as hell. There's nothing to be happy about, bitch. People die. I like the Adventure 2 plushes even more. We've got an added Rouge and Shadow here. I like the eye shape given to Shadow. He looks pissed. Rouge has a little twinkle in her eye. Aw, that's cute. Sonic, though, lay off the shakes, buddy.
Cram in as much fat fuck as possible.
After this, they sort of stopped making full sets for games. Nowadays, you'll get a plush of the new game character, but never sets anymore. The last big set we got, as far as I'm aware, is the Sonic X set. What happened to Cream? I'll be honest, these plushes aren't the best. The Adventure 1 and 2 plushes just had a lot more charm and managed to stay closer on model. They also didn't have War Trauma Cream. However, the release of Sonic X started a domino effect of one of the biggest lines of Sonic merch to date. The Sonic X set was made by the company Great Eastern Entertainment. These guys are known for making plushes of a lot of different anime, and to this day, they still do this. You've got your JoJo's, your Dandy Dans, your One Piece! And after making the Sonic X set, I think they got the right to Sonic plushes because starting from 2008 up until pretty much current day, they've been making plushes. There was a little bit of time where Tomy, another prominent company, had the license, so GE stopped making them, but for the most part, they've been steady at it since 2009 with the classic Sonic plushes. Right off the bat, the improvements made since the Sonic X set is very noticeable. They don't really look weird at all like most plushes, they're genuinely just very quality, and to this day, they're in stock, so they're very accessible plushes. For my 10th birthday, I got this classic Sonic plush, and it spiraled into this. nice. I'm still missing a good amount of them, by the way. I've always preferred plushes to figures, probably because they're bigger, and now I get to cuddle with Knuckles when I go to sleep. I've been steadily collecting them for a few years, and yeah, I love Great Eastern. Over the time, they've given plushes to more and more characters, and we're at the point where a majority of them are here. We got all of Team Sonic, Rose, Chaotic, Stark, even the Babylon Rogues. Most of the villains are here, including Infinite, which is definitely a highlight for me. I've always loved him as a plush. I just find his back hair thingies to be just incredibly appealing, and they translate so well into plush form. The detailing on all of the plushes is really great. It doesn't cover absolutely every one of the details of the characters, but it gets most of them. Shadow and Silver are incredible. I really love the details in their shoes. Great Eastern also has done a good job at surprisingly representing a lot of more niche characters, or ones you wouldn't really expect to be made a plush of. I already mentioned the Babylon Rogues, which is neat, but then you get stuff like Emerald from Sonic Battle, who looks so fucking good. Older villains like Chaos and Mephiles, the Werehog, Tikal, Gamma. Somehow Gamma was made before Omega. I just find that funny. Now, while I love these plushes to death, when you get passionate about something like this, you also notice some flaws here and there. There's a couple of weird character choices made. Like I said before, they added Gamma before Omega, but it gets weirder than that. In the span of a week last year, they announced a bunch of plushes, mainly being the Deadly Six and a couple of others like Ray the Flying Squirrel and Mimic. Oh yeah, Mimic. So they have this thing called the Sonic Comic Collection, which started as Tangle and Whisper, and we now have Mimic. Why? Surge is super popular, why not her? There was also this prototype Starline plush that was shown off once, but seemingly scrapped. Probably because currently in the comics, Starline is, well, let's just say he's living it up in the land down under with Kurt. But regardless, Mimic is a weird choice. But with the Deadly Six, we have every single member except Zavok. What? They got the fucking emo one in and left out Zavok? Donpa!
Mommy, can I get the coked up Tanuki plush from the Team Sonic Racing for Christmas?
Another weird thing Great Eastern tends to do is have inconsistencies with the heights of plushes. The average modern plush height is around like 12 inches. Shadow, Silver, SBO Jet, all these guys range around the 11 to 12 inch mark, which is great. And then you get some characters that are either a bit smaller or bigger for obvious reasons. Cream is about 7 inches, I think. Chaos and Big are noticeably taller, you get the idea. But then for some reason, there's a handful of plushes that just don't line up for some reason. They fucked up the most important plushes for some reason. Modern Tails, Knuckles, and Amy look noticeably worse than the other plushes, and for some reason they're way too small, so they just look weird beside the other plushes. They're like the same height as their classic counterpart plushes, so like, why? Sonic himself is in a weird boat because he has some really good plushes, but none of them are the same height as the majority of plushes, so he stands out like a sore thumb. There is not a normal 12-inch Sonic plush. Do you know how much that drives me fucking crazy? And then there's other weird cases, like Metal Sonic. He looks kinda ugly and is smaller than the other modern plushes, even though he seems to be based off modern metal. And one thing I hate that Great Eastern seemingly does is just not be apparent about the heights of plushes. Jet and Blaze are listed as 8 and 9 inches when they're no less than 10 and a half. Emerald is listed as 10, but he's 12. It makes actually finding if the plush I want is a good height really fucking annoying. And there's some also just weird heights in general. Why the fuck is Neo Metal Sonic 10 inches? Dude, come on. The scaling recently of Great Eastern has just been weird, with more and more examples of plushes being just smaller than they should be. Omega and Neo Metal, two recent examples, just don't look entirely right. I know to some of you the difference between 10 and 12 inches may not sound like a lot, but I promise you, in person, there is such a noticeable difference. At least they're better than Tomy.
You know, when you showed me up, you put some of the stuffing in the wrong place, so I'm a little fucked up.
Tomy has been partnered with the brand for a long time, and I couldn't really tell you why. Some plushes look alright, I think their classic line looks nice, but then you shift gears to the more modern stuff, and dude, they decided Sonic Chronicles was the best place to reference Amy from, so she looks like that. Metal Sonic looks like fucking... And then this classic Sonic plush. Why the fuck does every company love to make a classic Sonic thing with this pose? Look at any company, and how they've used classic Sonic, and it's either neutral expression, stay in character classic where he doesn't emote, or it's this pose. It's not that fucking cool of a pose, bro. We see the fit. What Tomy is mainly known for, though, is figures, and I primarily remember them from the Sonic Boom era. That was their most prominent era for sure, and I feel like Tomy was the lead merch provider for them. They aren't the worst. I mean, if I was a kid and got these, I wouldn't be upset, but there's a lot to be desired here. I know this isn't a figure, but look at this fucking Knuckles plush. I feel maternal over it. You've got everything you'd expect. The main cast of the show with 1 million Sonics, all the villain. You've even got... Whoa, is that fucking blackface Tails? Despite Tomy being the big company at the time for Sonic merch, Sonic Boom having a total of like 5 characters really limited things. Like, you got the main cast of heroes, Eggman, and then you start running out, so they had to put crab meat in the box. That's how you know Boom was flawed from the start. I'm pissed they never made a Vector figure. Where's the Vector figure, Tomy?
Jimmy! Come on, Jimmy. You know you owe me.
But if we really want to talk about the leading king of Sonic figures, there's one company we gotta talk about. Dude. 55 Funkos, 55 Retros, 55 Minis, 55... Funko is the sloppiest of companies. Like, just the sloppiest slop. Beady little stupid fucking eyes, stupid small body. Hey guys, I made a new Funko of me. How's it look? That'll be $15.99 with taxes. I'll be honest, I don't know how Funko is still in business. How do people genuinely buy this? It's the figure equivalent of that one corporate art style that everybody was using for a couple years. It's not even like people buy them just because they're the cheapest one on the market. Because they aren't. There's so many better figures released by other companies that are like the exact same price or even cheaper. Omega looks alright because they just gave up with the Funko proportions. Jeez, it's almost like the Funko proportions look like shit. Fuck you. You know, I'll give them one thing. They at least have some neat nicher picks for figures. You got Mighty, Chaos, Buccaneer Shadow, Knuckles as Devil. Dude, I get it now. I gotta fucking get one! Stop! Please let me go! Please let me go! One company I've failed to mention so far is probably the biggest one when it comes to making Sonic merch. I'm talking about Jakks Pacific. Jakks Pacific is easily the biggest manufacturer of Sonic merchandise, probably ever. They got the license to Sonic merch in 2019 and they just won't stop. Despite how relatively little of a time they've had the license, their history is already so vast. They've released so many sets of figures, plushes, subsets of those figures and plushes. The plushes in particular are really funny because compared to everything else they made, they stand out like a sore thumb. Okay, I'm exaggerating a bit. They aren't that bad. They're really cheap. I know I found one of mine at Five Below for just $5 and like, yeah, that's an incredible price. But there's some that just raise an eyebrow. Metal Sonic, speak to me! What did they do to you? With Sonic, they try to do the 3-quill silhouette with the plush, and I think it makes sense why no company has tried it before because, oh, what the fuck? It's funny scrolling on their Sonic wiki page, which has been a good source of info throughout this whole thing, because you look at the different waves of these plushes, and it's like the same exact ones every time. I do not think plushes are Jack's strong suit at all, man. I am a fucking architect! I'm just selling shit plushes because someone will get their fat fucking ass and help me. Now, as for the figures, ooh la la. I don't absolutely love the figures, but I actually kind of do because for non-straight up statue figures at an affordable price, damn, I can't lie, these are really nice. Their first 4-inch wave is really solid. You got the basic characters you'd expect, and each character comes with a little item. They'd get more interesting or character specific later, but here they're just these discs, which is boring, sure, but I find it really charming that they have different character sprites from Sonic Battle on them. That's really cute. Throughout time, they'd add more and more characters, and by this point, we have most of the main ones, which is nice. Most sets consist of 1 to 2 highly marketable characters, you know, your Sonic and Shadow, but within the same set, you'll maybe get 1 or 2 lesser characters, you know, your Vector and Silver and so on. They made a lot of badniks into figures, funnily enough, and I think that's a really cool way of giving basic enemies figures, as I can't imagine these are super expensive to produce or anything. It took till Wave 6 to get Amy as a figure, and somehow Mecha Sonic, Mighty, and Super Shadow got figures before her. Mighty even got 2. What are we doing? But the funniest thing about this wave is that aside from Amy, you get retextured versions of Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, and they gave him jaundiced for some reason. Sonic just looks like the Model Slander image at this point. You should really get that checked out. I think the yellow Chaos Emerald is emitting radiation. This 4-inch line is really nice because even though these aren't the magnum opus of figures, they're extremely accessible because of the $10 price tag attached. So pretty much anybody is able to get their favorite character or multiple characters and begin a collection without spending too much money. Jakks has also released some playsets, and I can't lie, these are also pretty cool. It's usually either Sonic in a zone or Sonic against one of Eggman's mechs, which leads to some cool sets, like here's Stardust Speedway Past as depicted in Mania, here's Oil Ocean, here's that one aquatic ruin mech Eggman had. I don't know, I just think it's really cool when Sonic's lineage is depicted with such quality as this. But out of everything Jakks has done, one piece of merch stands tall as my favorite that they've ever made. Dude.
The money, Skylar, where is the rest? Where is the money?
A one-off collection by Jakks is the ice cream plushes. You know that funny little ice cream pop everyone used to laugh at? Well, they made a plush of it. And sure, that's pretty cute and funny, but now they've made a Shadow one. Whoa, hold on there, Jakks, you LARPing fuck. They only made a Sonic one. They're making one of Tails and Knuckles, and I really don't care that much. If anything, I think it's cute. They're trying to imagine what a scuffed little ice cream pop of different characters would be, because I genuinely think they look really nice, and they don't feel like forced or trying too hard to be wacky and funny. But now, if we want to get premium with our figures, then the best place to look is First 4 Figures. Ooh la la. First 4 Figures specializes in selling you overpriced statues that look nice on a shelf. It's not a real criticism, as every big statue company is overpriced because they're statues, and that warrants the price tag because they say so. But really, these statues are really incredible. For a while, I was really interested in these 2 classic ones. There's this more simple one with Sonic beside a star post I thought that looked super neat, and then there's this gorgeous one with Tails carrying Sonic and Angel Island. They've even got 2 variants of it, one with normal Angel Island and one with it burning down. That's so sick. They got a lot of nice modern ones as well. Tons of adventure Sonic statues. We've obviously got a couple Shadows. I really love the one they did for Shadow Generations with the Doom Wings. Overall, First 4 Figures has really good quality. So how funny would it be if I told you that the same people that made this made fucking Figgies? Figgies is the funniest thing ever, and it makes me laugh. How does the same company making some of the best statues of your favorite franchise also produce this so retro-ass fake pixel art bullshit? All your favorite characters are here. You got Sonic, Mecha Sonic Mark II, Pomni, the gang's all here. I would not join whatever blunt rotation this is. Now, we've kind of talked about the big kahunas of Sonic merch, but there's some other non-figured, non-plush merch that I want to quickly go over. Shirts. I don't like most of them. I think a lot of the official Sonic shirts are extremely boring and basic, and while they work as kids' shirts, man, I'm a badass fucking adult now. I want some shit that actually looks good. The best Sonic shirts, sadly, are the unofficial underground stuff. Not that there aren't good official Sonic shirts out there. Quite recently, Evan Stanley actually designed two, and there's some all-timers, I can't lie. They're advertising a comic collection, and they're pretty alright, but this Metal Sonic one, okay, I see you. All in all, though, official Sonic shirts are usually just pretty bad, and if they're not bad, they're just boring and not something I'd really want to wear. Oh, what do I mean, bro? We are all rocking the Eggman YOLO graphic tee, bro. Fuck! Off of shirts, pretty recently they started selling Sonic Gold, and yes, it's real gold, and you can buy it for $100. I don't know who this is for, and I don't think anyone has ever bought it. Wait, Joe, you bought the Sonic Gold thing, right?
Yeah, man. Like,
Sonic movie merch could seriously get its own video. There's so much good and bad. My favorite pieces of merch are the ones that were clearly pre-redesigned, like the Jakks plush I showed earlier. What the fuck just happened to my voice? You've also got this one of Sonic in this weird pseudo spin dash, and yep, that's pre-redesigned movie Sonic, alright. There's this plush of him that just looks really funny. I think movie Sonic works a lot better with figures, because if you want to make some cheap plushes, you can't really cram a lot of detail into them, something that movie Sonic clearly warrants, so you end up with this shitty little fur texture. He talks or something as well, I don't really...
Hi, it's me, Chris Pratt, from the Mario movie. I play Mario in the Mario movie. Let's
okay,
go.
that...
Whatever.
His face is also just really funny. But if we want to end off with something infamous, then there's no other place to highlight than Limited Run Games. If you somehow didn't already know, Limited Run Games is a company specializing in releasing physical versions of usually digital games for a limited time. However, alongside this, they oftentimes will create these big collector's sets of certain games with all this bullshit packaged in for a higher price. For the release of Sonic X Shadow Generations in 2024, they put up a pre-order for the collector's edition of the game. It comes with all this bullshit. You got the game with this big box, a steelbook, a CD, an art book, and most notably this statue of Sonic and Shadow on a Dreamcast. Now, that's pretty neat on paper, but I'm sure most of you know that something happened with the development of this because there were so many delays. I think they were supposed to ship around November of 2024, and because of so many delays, I believe they first started shipping them in late 2025. And the funniest part about it is that when they finally did ship and begin to move, the statues didn't even look that good. People were kind of ripped the fuck off.
That's what Shadow looks like. You know?
So they went back and restarted production, and I believe that either as of a few months ago or like still now, I think it's still ongoing, but it's kind of unclear, copies are still being shipped out to this day. And then Sega let him do another one for Crossworlds! The balls on Sega to do another limited run games release was insane. It was a pretty big controversy at the time, so to see them do it again, yeah, Sega is a bad company, you would have thought. There's no Sonic content on it, but if you're looking for a good spot of physical games and collector's editions, I'd highly recommend checking out Fangamer. No, it's not a sponsor. It's got physical editions of a lot of games and great merch as well. The Deltarune plushes are amazing. Oh, and by the way, the collector's edition for Crossworlds still hasn't shipped and also doesn't look that great. Wow, wahoo. The world of Sonic merch is so incredibly vast that I could probably make like 10 more videos this same length and still not cover even a quarter of the stuff out there. All I really covered in this video is mostly stuff either very early on or from the past decade, and even then there was so much stuff within those time frames that I just didn't include. I could seriously be here all day, and if the video does well, I wouldn't really be against making another video if I find enough funny stuff to warrant another. So if you enjoy, like and subscribe. You can join my Patreon and get early access to videos, link in the description. I'll see you guys next time. Peace. The Jakks classic plush is so fucking funny, bro.